Greetings, people of the internet, and welcome to another video. Today we will attempt to make a Zor setup so filthy you're gonna have to wash your screen after watching this video. We're gonna take two very disgusting arcanes, Exodia Contagion and Melee Influence, and we're gonna mash them together in a new Zor specifically tailored for this setup. Why? Because why not? I wanna see if it's any good. So let's give it a shot, shall we? After some consideration, I'm gonna go with the Plague Kawar, a Corb, and an Equana 2 Ruang for the Zor. This gives you an extremely slow Zor, but it hits really hard, it has Vital from the Plague Kawar, and it has 36% base status. Looks pretty cool, very top heavy. Originally I did want to go with crit as well, but I decided against it at the end. Let's get that influence on. We're gonna have to level it up first because you can't use Exodia Arcanes until you guild it. Let's also get a stance. Yes, I do have some potatoes. Only 4 left though. Ooh la la. Let's do like a basic leveling build. We're gonna have to change it later once we add the Exodia. It looks decent enough, I guess. Gonna have to switch to config A for that extra attack speed. Let's also get Harold. Let's make sure he's on corrosive. There we go. Be blessed, people of the relay. Come on now. Love me. Yes. Yes. Very loved indeed. Oh no, that is so slow. Even with Arcane Strike. I think we might need more electricity once we go with the Exodia. It's fine now, but yeah, I think we're gonna have to go with Shocking Touch instead. I'm not sure whether it would be better to go with Blast, which is what we're using now, or switch to Gas. Might be better to use Gas with the Exodia. Maybe. The reason, by the way, I went with these Zor parts in particular is because the Exodia scales off of your Zor, right? You want high base damage because the Exodia does 5 times your Zor's damage with the explosion and twice your Zor's damage on a direct hit. I'm still not sure that not going crit was the right call, but I think it's gonna be easier to mod. We're gonna have more mod space if we don't have to jam in crit mods. And it should also be more reliable because we have very high base status. Oh boy, I need you to guild my Zor. Oh, thank God I have the Cetus Wisps. There it is. I guess we're gonna add a V. That's gonna save us a Forma. Oh, what are we gonna... Oh man, what are we gonna call it? We shall continue the tradition of... No, Crescent, Sickle, of naming all my Zors, well, with the exception of one. One of them is called Stabby Stabby, after weapons from Dark Souls. Ooh, that's looking saucy as hell. Yeah, that's good, but yeah, this one's way better. There it is, Exodia Contagion. Ho ho ho. We're gonna keep Pressure Point and Condi Overload because it's multiplicative on the projectile. Then we're gonna run Galvanize the Elementalist. Shocking Tattoo. Gonna stick to Blast for now. Might swap it over to Gas later. Don't remember if it builds combo or not. I wanna say no, but let's try it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's that's pretty good. It doesn't build combo though, unfortunately. Bye bye Weeping Wounds, I guess. What is it called? I almost never use it. I don't remember. Ah, Melee Prowess, that's the one. So we're over 100% before Elementalist. Let's try the Shield Boys. Ooh, damn. that's pretty big. And we are still missing the biggest multiplier of them all, by the way. I always forget how extremely this projectile is affected by gravity. It just falls straight down like a clam rock. Now, I know we're still missing a really big multiplier. We're gonna add that in a little bit, but with that, I kind of expected it to hit harder. Like, it hits hard, but yeah, like that was a big pop, but I don't know. Maybe it's the armor. Damn, maybe I should have gone crit. Yeah, so far I don't think I would actually use this over a normal influence setup. You do have quite a bit of range, and you do considerably more damage if you throw the projectiles like really far away because it gets a massive multiplier after 30 meters. But on most maps, especially with the projectile being affected by gravity, you're not gonna do that. One thing I want to say is that you might want to build a different Zor. It mostly depends on whether or not you have some Rivens. Like if you have a Riven for a particular strike, you're probably better off using that instead. Might actually make it more worthwhile to go for crit at that point because you can add a bunch of crit via the Riven without using up a bunch of mod space. I don't think we're getting enough direct hits to run Condi Overload, so we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna have to add some attack speed now. I know this is probably not ideal, but the uptime on influence is quite low, even with a relatively dense map, so let's just add a bunch of electricity, make it the most likely element to proc, and get some damage at the same time. Say hello to the secret ingredient in this disgusting concoction, Mirage, because Eclipse not only applies twice, it's multiplicative, both times. See, this is what I had in mind. Absolute disgust. Filth dialed up to 11. What the f- This is what I remember from the olden times, just absolute shreddage. Now this, I can recommend. This is well good. What I love about this is that it's very different from anything else you are going to run. Like, this is a very unique type of playstyle. I'm usually not a big fan of builds that require specific setups, but I think I'll make an exception this time because of how fun it is. Now imagine, if you will, for a brief second, this setup, but with crit as well, which is what you can do if you have a Riven, because you will have enough mod space to squeeze in crit as well. Just absolute degeneracy. So just a quick recap of the parts. This is for a non-Riven, non-crit, just pure status setup, right? We have the Corb Grib, the Plague War Strike, and the Iguana 2 Ruhang Link. This gives you a very heavy-hitting Zo with high base status chance. We're running Stalking Fan as the stance, then we have Primed Pressure Point for melee damage, Galvanized Elementalist for status damage and status chance, Melee Prowess for status chance, Berserker Fury for attack speed, Voltaic Strike and Shocking Touch to get a lot of electricity to make proccing influence a lot easier. And we top it up with Volcanic Edge and Vicious Frost for blast, though alternatively you could go with gas as well. And of course we're running Exodia Contagion in the Zo slot with melee influence as our secondary arcane. Now, one thing to bear in mind is this is a pure contagion setup, so it's just designed to throw the projectile all the time. But you can absolutely do a combo generating setup, which is not only going to increase the damage of the projectile, because the projectile scales a little bit with your combo counter, but it will also allow you to use mods like Weeping Wounds. It will require a more complete and complicated setup. You would ideally use something like Tandem Bond to sustain your combo counter via your pet, as well as primary and secondary dexterity for combo duration, and then the Naramon focus goal so your combo doesn't decay all at once. So it would be slightly more difficult to put together, but it shouldn't be too different from this setup, because once you have everything rolling, your pet should sustain you if you don't kill the enemies too fast, and it will allow you to squeeze much more stats onto the weapon. But anyway, would I recommend you give this a shot? Yes, absolutely. It's still a really fun setup that can do some absolutely disgusting damage. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Then I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support, it means a lot to me. And I'll see you next time, bye bye.